So today's explainer took an unexpected turn. We had this whole thing planned out, a really interesting topic we were ready to dive into. But then we hit a wall, a digital one. It stopped us right in our tracks. And honestly, that wall turned out to be way more fascinating than our original plan. So that's what we're talking about today.
Okay, so here's what happened. This was supposed to be our source. We wanted to dig into an article on inmin.com. It's a real estate news site. But when our research team went to pull it up, nope, we were stopped cold. We couldn't even get to the page. Instead, this is what popped up. This simple sentence: verify you are human by completing the action below. And it just made us stop and think. We see these messages all the time, right? We usually just click through them without even thinking. But why? Why is this even here? That's the mystery we're unpacking today. Let's just call it what it is, a digital roadblock. It's that little moment of friction, sometimes it's annoying, that gets between you and whatever you're trying to do online. And it's something we've all experienced a million times over. This really gets to the heart of it. In a world that's all about making things faster and easier, why do we constantly have to stop and prove to a machine that we're, human? Who is this for? Or maybe the better question is, what is this for?
The answer, it turns out, has to do with the huge amount of traffic on the internet that isn't human at all. And that introduces the main character, or maybe the villain of our story: automated programs. You know them as bots.
So let's ask that question again, a little differently this time. When a website throws up that little test asking you to prove you're human, who is that checkpoint really for? Because here's the twist. It's not actually about you. It's about keeping something else out.
Plain and simple, it's designed to stop bots. These are these little automated programs that just crawl all over the internet, built to do things way faster and on a much bigger scale than any person ever could.
And this slide just lays it out so clearly. Look at the difference. You've got us, human users. We're kind of slow, right? We click on something, we read a little, we do one thing at a time. Our behavior is pretty random. But bots, they're the exact opposite. They're instantaneous. They can do the same thing, like try to spam a comment section, thousands of times a second. It's a massive coordinated effort.
So, to fight back against these super fast, super repetitive programs, the internet needed a defense. It needed a new kind of gatekeeper. It needed a checkpoint that was specifically human.
And the solution that engineers came up with is actually pretty brilliant. They totally flipped the idea of a test on its head. See, instead of making a test that's easy for computers and hard for us, they made one that's designed to be really, really hard for computers.
And I'm sure you know the name, CAPTCHA, but have you ever actually thought about what that name means? It stands for Completely Automated Public Turing Test to tell computers and humans apart. It's incredible, right? The entire purpose is spelled out right there in the name. It's a test for one thing and one thing only, telling people and programs apart.
The best way to think about it is like this. CAPTCHA is basically a digital doorman. Its only job is to check everyone trying to come through the door. It doesn't care who you are, it just wants to know what you are. And just like a real doorman, its methods have gotten a lot more sophisticated over time.
At its heart, the goal is really simple. It's a two-step process. But the puzzles themselves, they've changed a ton. We all remember trying to read those squiggly, warped letters, right? Then, as computers got good at that, the puzzles changed to pictures. Click on all the traffic lights. You know the drill. Lately, you probably just see a little checkbox. I'm not a robot. The genius of that one is that it's not about the click, it's about how you moved your mouse to get there. Your little hesitations, the not-so-perfect curve of your movement, that's a human signature. The newest ones are even invisible, just watching how you act on the page to decide if you're real.
So, okay, this is a cool bit of tech history, but it's not just a curiosity. There is a constant, invisible war happening every time you browse the web. So, why does any of this really matter in the grand scheme of things?
I mean, they're just code, right? What's the worst they can do? What kind of actual trouble can these bots cause that makes it worth putting up these little roadblocks for all of us? Well, turns out, a lot. Bots are the force behind so many of the things that drive us crazy online. All that spam in your inbox and in comment sections, that's bots. Ever tried to buy tickets to a huge concert the moment they drop and they're sold out in 1 second? Yeah, bots bought them all for scalpers. They're also used to steal personal data, flood websites with fake 5-star reviews, and even overload a site with so much traffic that it just completely crashes. So that little, sometimes annoying roadblock we started with, it's actually doing some really heavy lifting. It's a critical line of defense for the services we use every single day. But, and this is a really important but, it's not a perfect system.
For people with certain disabilities, like visual impairments, these tests can be more than just annoying. They can be a serious barrier, locking actual humans out. So it's this constant balancing act between keeping the web safe and keeping it accessible for everyone.
And here is the real kicker. This is not a solved problem. It's an arms race, and it is escalating fast. As artificial intelligence gets more and more powerful, the bots are getting smarter. The very tests that were designed to fool computers are now becoming child's play for the newest AI. And that leaves us with a really fascinating and maybe a little bit scary question for our future. As AI gets so good that it can pass every single test we designed for humans, how are we going to prove who's real online? What becomes the next digital doorman? That's the question we're all going to have to figure out.